My name is Barry Mann. I am an AEP practitioner in Adobe AEP. Okay, and as my fellow practitioners know, writing SQL in platform can be a little bit tricky sometimes. It's got a very specific SQL flavor that it needs, and if you search out there on the internet, it's not quite right. Technically speaking, the SQL flavor is something called Adobe Spark, which is a derivation of Presto, and it's got a very specific language. It's quite easy to get into difficulty, extracting things from tuples and nested JSON arrays and things like that. It can get a little bit tricky. All right. So what I did over the last 3.5 years working in AEP is I've built up a personal SQL bank of working queries, syntactically correct queries, which I've saved and taken between client to client. But then I thought, well, wouldn't it be a great way to speed up my workflow and put it into GPT? So that's actually what I've done. There's another video on this channel showing how it's constructed. I'm not going to get into that now. This is primarily a tutorial to get people stood up with writing syntactically correct queries in AEP platform quickly. All right. By the end of this short tutorial video, you're going to have a bank of at least 5 or 6 working SQL queries saved down in platform for you and the rest of the team. Okay. Following on from that, if you follow the instructions given here, which are quite simple, you're going to be able to generate queries and start generating data exploration tasks in the platform. This is just an introductory video. I'm just for very, very simple queries, okay? So you can find the GPT in the store, okay? I'll also include the link to it on this video. But if you go into the Explore button and type in AEP SQL Babelfish, you will find it. I've got a beta channel. Please don't use that one. That's in testing. The alpha channel is currently on 4.0. Initially, it was published back in March 2025. It went a bit nuts, to be honest, after I put it up on LinkedIn, and it got shared internally within Adobe, and then it went even nuts further, and we're well over, that was in May 2025, and we're now well over 1,200 chats on it. Okay. I have added analytics to it in the latest version. That's so I can see who's using it and refine the product even further. Okay, so it's fairly simple. It'll guide you through it. So I'll just say, hello, make me a query. So the first thing it's going to do, because I've given it instructions to do that, it's going to ask you for an email to proceed. If you don't provide an email, you won't be able to continue. But of course, there are consent issues, and we should be fairly transparent. So if you could pop your email in there, that would be great. I'm not going to spam you or sell it to anybody else. If you're not happy doing that, then simply just put in a dummy email address and it will continue. Okay. Put in my email, Barry@BarryMann.com. And the next stage, it's going to take you through basically a pop-up window for asking for consent for analytics. If you've never seen this before in GPT, don't worry, it's fully transparent. It will show you everything that it wants to send out. I'm sending analytics data out to make.com and then onwards into Google Analytics 4. Fully transparent. You can see exactly what it's sending, the email, this session ID, etc. And this eventually ends up in Google Analytics 4 and CGA, in fact. So I can see analytics around the tool that I created. You just confirm that once. You won't need to do that again, not for the session anyway. Now I prompt you for step 3, which is completing the education phase. Okay. Now, very simply at this point, it knows what the SQL syntax is, but it doesn't know anything whatsoever about your implementation. It doesn't know your table names, doesn't know what you're doing with it, doesn't know if it's e-commerce, doesn't know if it's brochureware. So we just take it through a short but vital education phase, all right? So first of all, it's asking for the dataset names, the dataset previews, XDM field paths. You could dump the schema into it if you wanted. And it's asking for a little bit of identity. I wouldn't bother with steps 3 and 4 to start off with. Okay, getting the dataset name, jump on over here to the datasets tab that we're all familiar with. Usually you've got an events table, a profile table, and then some customers have got other tables in there like prospect tables. But okay, so we can go into fashion events. This is an internal sandbox we use here at the Pixel. It's mated to a Magento e-commerce site. Okay. And then if you go down here on the right rail, you'll get this here, and you'll get the table name like that. All right. Another way to do it, if you want, templates, is to do something called a show tables, right? You can fish it out here if you want, okay? So let's give it the table name. Right, so now it's asking for a dataset preview, okay, and a little bit of identity. You don't need to worry about that for simple queries, just do step 1, okay, and build on it later on. So what it's asking for is queries. So dataset. You can do this several ways. You can go over here and you can do a preview dataset. Okay. And you can, if you wish, one way of doing it is you could just screenshot this page and just chuck it in there, right? That's one way of doing it. Or you can jump over here to the query editor like that. And you can do a select from, get this deliberately wrong, syntactically incorrect. So what we're doing is just a select all on the entire table. I'm looking at all the nodes and all the scalars in it. Okay, so here we've got this screen here. You can screenshot it or just take the data in here. Now at this point, it's pretty much educated on the events side of things, okay? Is the education feed. Yes, basic education is finished. Just a word on saving queries. It's my practice, and I suggest you make it team practice as well, to only save down functional queries, okay? So only save a query down here in this box here if it's functional. Okay, so if it's in testing or it's broken, don't save it. And then very quickly your team will build up a bank of working SQL queries, because of course this area is common to everyone. All right, good. Let's dive in. Now the fun starts. So I know nothing about this dataset whatsoever. I just want to do a basic explore. Give me some basic exploration queries. Let's start with event names. Let's call it event volumes. Sometimes it runs ahead of itself and makes something a little bit too complicated. This is this tutorial, so we'll just do a simpler version of that. Okay, so we run this query over here, and then hey presto, we will see all the event volumes in the dataset. There's a very clear picture of what's going on there, page views and the volumes, proposition fetches, page views, something going on here, some issue, recommendation, searches, link clicks, which is good. We must have some link clicks in there then. Okay. Create account, quite a lot of data in there already. So let's save this as show event volumes. Okay, very simple. Now, in the next stage, what we're going to do is we're going to ask it for ingestion dates. Now, I have a query that does it, but I have not loaded it into Babelfish, okay? So what we will see here is it getting it wrong and the process of patching it up, okay? Give me ingestion dates. I want to know what is in there. Let's do purchases only. And you'll need to give it the output of this. So if you get into the habit of going backwards and forth, pasting between here, the education phases continues, and it will know exactly how to write this query. Excellent. We want purchases here. Let's do it this way. Basically educating with all the event names. Here we go. He's an AEP SQL query that turns to be able to ingest dates just for orders. So this part is correct. Now watch this here. Okay, so it's giving us events for purchases. There seem to be test data back in April 2025 and May 2025, and then stretching into June, but it seems to have stopped there and not a very large volume. Okay, so that worked. Let's say that's good. Add the time of purchase. Trying to get it to fail. When it fails, it will show you a large amount of red text here. Here we go. All right, now all you need to do is you just tell it what happened. I'm sure one day it'll be able to see the screen on its own. Error tells us that format timestamp is not supported in AEP SQL. Let's rewrite it using supported Spark compatible expressions. Now sometimes it can be a little bit of back and forth on this to get a query that works. Quite common for it to fail a couple of times. Sometimes it'll get it right second time, as it did here. There we go. times of day, what the people are purchasing in GMT. And then let's say for the May orders alone, just show me those, and convert the time to Eastern Standard Time. Platform runs on UTC, but you might want to see timestamps, you know, if I'm thinking about the US clients really, want answers in their time zone. Okay, so as instructed, it's just the May ones, and the dates, EST times, purchase events. Okay, that worked great. So let's ask it, I'm just labeling it now. Let's ask it for UK date format, UK date format, and move it back to UTC, please. I think you get the point by now, DD, right? So let's, after this, let's do a more interesting query. What can we do next after this one? There we go. UTC, UK date format. There we go. Let's do something else. Show me the contents of the commerce node in for purchases only. It's stuck with the date. Nothing there. So show me non-null commerce and forget the stuff about changing time zones. So this will reveal if the integration for Magento is sending back office events. Because here at the Pixel, we've got a unique way of doing integrations from Magento to get a lot of data in there quite quickly. Now, sometimes it jams. The performance of it has been a lot better this year. I'm going to be impatient. Here we go. Timestamps, commerce nodes. Now here we can see that there is no details whatsoever of the purchased item or the items that have been looked at. Suggest that's missing from the data set. Okay. So that's just a simple example of how to use the tool. You can push it a lot further than this. I do quite complex dictionary queries, which can basically assess coverage of fields. Don't think that'll work. But this produces a data dictionary showing field coverage, and that's absolutely vital when you're doing audience building, because the audience builder, unfortunately, the clustering values don't work. So I come over here and create an audience. One of the real annoyances of this is that the cluster values don't work. The point being that you would wish to use your data dictionary to type it into the field there, and then you would do, then you'd estimate the audience. It is running slow today, being Monday. So that's all from me for now. We're on business to business version here. So, which field do I pick? Which field's got the events in? You need a data direction to do that. It's impossible to figure this out. And which fields are populated and which are not. You can go in here and it's supposed to show you the data in here, but for as long as I've known, it says lack of cluster values, so it never actually shows you what's in that field. I mean, is that field, it's a schema field, is it populated? Is it covered or is it not covered? That's about it from me. Okay, that's about it for me. There we have like a load of queries built up for your team to use straight away. Select all. I did one on browsers. All sorts in here. There you go. You can look at browsers. You can look at order volumes. Ingestion dates is a good one to run. This shows you the dates that the data is ingested. So I can see here that it fell silent a number of months back. Okay, the data ran through June, etc., which ties up to what is being seen over here in the datasets. All right, that's all for me. Thank you very much. I would appreciate your feedback very much. If you pop it over on my LinkedIn profile, reach out to me on LinkedIn or pop me an email. Thank you very much.